All right, we're back with award-winning director Ava DuVernay. So the documentary 13th, you talked about, first of all, it came out like in 2016 originally, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like it's talking about it again and bringing it up, and which is giving you a whole new audience. And as I said, it's so powerful and so heartbreaking. And but in it, you talk about Republicans and Democrats trying to outdo each other as to who is going to be tougher on crime. I was, shocked. Like, you look at Bill Clinton and you look at the three strikes and you look at all the things that hurt so many Black people over the years. It was surprising.
Yeah, I mean the piece overall, that part of it deals with recent history, recent political history. I think the thing that I hoped people would get out of 13th, and the reason why I made it as a brisk 100-minute American history lesson, truly, it's really all the things that we've
Yeah.
never been taught in school. Less about Clinton and policies and Bush and all those guys, and more about that the very foundation of our criminal justice system is flawed, and that it was created to subjugate and oppress. That the foundations of the police departments in this country are born out of slave catchers, right? Law enforcement at that time that were sent out to subjugate Black people. And so that's what I hopefully 13th just shows you, that we're on a continuum. People ask what to do now. Well, the first thing is to know what's already been done, so that we can build on the gains, we can build on the losses, and we can be a little bit more strategic about how we're moving forward. So that's the real point of 13th, to talk about not just, mass incarceration and police brutality, but to talk about the idea of criminalization. You talk about white privilege. Embedded in white privilege is the sense of white people aren't criminals. That's one of the baselines, right? That's what I want people to take from 13th. And I'm so thrilled that folks are discovering it again.
Yeah, I mean, it is a history lesson. And when you see what 13th is, the amendment, and how that really created this loophole, but also just how dangerous, like you said, it was with from that movie, Birth of a Nation, how everyone, created this monster. It's anyway, it's really unbelievable. And I just keep saying, you must watch that movie. And if you think that you don't need to see it, you're wrong. You need to see it. How does what's happening now compare to, what's happened in the past? Because you have done so many projects on this exact behavior. But what do you think the difference is, or is there?
Huge differences. I mean, I believe you have Congressman Lewis on the show. Is that right?
Yes.
Congressman Lewis.
Yes.
The strategies, the great bodily risk and harm, the thinking that had to go behind protests of the 60s that he participated in are light years behind in terms of their danger, the jeopardy, than folks who are protesting today. And that's because of what he and his comrades did. And so there's definitely been differences. I mean, the fact that you and I are sitting here, you and me sitting here on national TV talking about this, that's a big deal, right? And so there have been gains. The important thing, I think, strategically as we move forward, anyone who believes in justice and dignity, to really come together to think of strategies that build on what's happened in the past. But we are in a better place. We're in a place where we can be thinking about, technology, all kinds of ways that we can kind of fight this. We and many of my colleagues have been thinking about ways to activate this rage that we feel, and just all of that group think, I think, will hopefully lead us into a direction where there's some actual action taken.
Yeah, there's got to be a plan and some place to put all that rage. I agree. We have to take a break, Ava. This is amazing. We'll be right back. You're starting a new initiative. What is the new initiative?
Well, I think one of the things that I'll tell you a little bit about it, because I've been thinking a lot about my own rage, my own emotions. When I look at George Floyd's tape, I see my uncles, he not just in a general sense, but he looks like people in my family, like literally the facial features. So every time that video plays on CNN or on anything else, I see people that I love on the ground begging for their life. So there's a sense of those images, what we're asking of each other, and the storytelling around these instances, the stories that we're telling each other. That's what I've really been interested in interrogating. We need to change what those stories are and change the way that we tell them. And so what we've come up with in a short amount of time is an idea that we call LEAP. It's the Law Enforcement Accountability Project. And what it is we're asking for narrative change, and we're creating narrative change around police abuse, misconduct, and murder of Black people. We're changing the lens of the story. And it connects to something I told you at the top of the show, which is, why do we not know who is killing us? How can officers, and there are wonderful officers. I have my cousin, who I love deeply and grew up with, is a police officer in Texas. There are good officers, but we have heard many good officers speaking up over the past week saying this was wrong and this cannot be. And so what we're trying to do through storytelling, through LEAP, is say we need to start telling the stories about those who murder and about those who are not being held accountable. So this project looks at narrative storytelling across all genres: film, theater, dance, literature, poetry, sculpture, music, to start to get us to think about the fact that we have this big blind spot. We allow officers who do harm to disappear. They move to other departments in other cities. They continue to get paid while they're under administrative review. They are free to go about their lives, faceless and nameless. And when we talk about police accountability and caring for each other, we need to be able to name those names and know who those people are. So that's a lot of what the project focuses on.
That's great. Well, you are an amazing woman. I thank you for everything. I thank you for 13th, which again, everyone must watch. It's available on Netflix. For more information on Ava's new initiative, go to our website. Ava DuVernay, you are incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Ellen. And I'll say, for people who don't have Netflix, we've put it free on YouTube as well. So no excuse not to learn. Thank you.
No excuse. Free on YouTube. 13th. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time, Ava.
Thank you.